Who was the best trash talker you played against?
Larry Bird.
They say Larry was more of a trash talker than Jordan.
Yeah. So give me a little bit more about the LB though, Larry Bird, man.
But Bird didn't talk trash to you, did
Oh my God, Bird talked trash to everybody.
They say legends never die, but in the case of Larry Bird, his stories only grow larger. Now, if you asked a room full of NBA legends who they'd be most afraid to go up against, it's hard to imagine anyone not saying Larry Bird. And Isiah Thomas once made it clear that in a battle of legends, Larry would be the last one standing. Now, think about that for a second. The level of respect, and let's be real, fear Bird commanded is unmatched. But today, we're not just talking about his stats or accolades. We're diving into the jaw-dropping stories, the legendary tales that left even the greatest in awe. Let's start with one of the loudest mouths in the game, Gary Payton. Now, Gary Payton doesn't hand out compliments lightly, but when it comes to Larry Bird, he didn't hesitate to give him the crown as the greatest trash talker ever.
Bird used to tell me, look here, man, I'm gonna go shoot this jumper in your face right there in that corner. And it's gonna be your Christmas present. I'm gonna wrap it up and bust your head open.
Yeah, Bird was ruthless. So much so that even guys known for their trash talk, like Payton, had to respect it. And if you thought Bird's trash talking only applied to certain players, think again. NBA legend Isiah Thomas has his legendary tale about Larry Bird.
Our back line at one time it was Kelly Tripucka, Bill Laimbeer, Ken Benson, 3 white dudes. We walk out on the court. He said, "Who guarding me? You ain't got no brothers?" He said, "Hey man, you can't put no white dude on me. That is straight disrespect, right? Don't ever put no white dude on me because that is disrespectful."
Terrell Brandon also had his share of Bird experiences. Brandon highlighted not only Bird's physical dominance, but his mental warfare too.
Bird is a psychologically assassin.
In what way though?
How can a person jump this high and out-rebound you? How can a person jump and when we practice, he would be running around Boston Garden while we was practicing.
That was psychological.
And we was watching him running around in the Boston Garden.
But there was one game against the Cleveland Cavaliers that still stands out in his memory.
They beat us in Cleveland, and he told me where he was going and where he was going to shoot. 91-92 season, and we was playing the Boston Celtics. He said, "Who's guarding me?" I says, "Craig Elo." He said, "Why you got that white boy on me?"
Bird was on fire, shooting so accurately that he might as well been playing with his eyes closed. And sometimes he literally did, practicing three-pointers with his eyes shut just to flex his mastery over the game. And then there's Nolan Richardson, who got introduced to Bird's legend in the most unforgettable way.
Driving and I'm listening to a game. It's New Mexico State playing Indiana State. I don't really care about the game, but New Mexico State is right up the streets from El Paso, and I went to UTEP. And I'm listening to the radio, and I have no clue of the players on either team. All of a sudden, this name keeps coming. Bird. He goes to the right. Bird. He makes the shot. Bird. I said, God damn, who is Bird? When the time I got to the end, I said, damn, that brother can play.
Richardson's words offer a glimpse into just how much of an impact Bird had on the sport, even before some of his most iconic moments. From the very beginning, there was something special about him that everyone in the basketball world could feel. Now, Reggie Miller, one of the greatest shooters in the history of the game, had something to say about Bird too. Miller didn't hesitate when asked who'd he choose in a hypothetical draft, Larry Bird in his prime or LeBron James. He said,
"If there's a draft,
Oh my God.
you can take Bird or LeBron."
Oh.
So let's say I take Larry at this age when I think he averaged 30, 10, and 7, something like that, and LeBron right now. So you got Larry Legend
Okay,
or
now
LeBron.
what rules are we playing to?
We're playing today's rules.
I gotta go with Larry Joe. In today's rules, you can't touch him.
Yeah.
Bird's versatility, IQ, and competitive fire put him above even King James in Miller's eyes. That's high praise, and it just adds to the legacy that Bird built throughout his career. But Reggie isn't the only one who feels that way.
So, for example, if you put a one-on-one game, Jokic versus Larry Bird in their prime,
So that would be Larry Bird.
Yeah.
Larry Bird would probably beat LeBron one-on-one. Because one-on-one, it takes away from everything LeBron has, right? In one-on-one, you're talking about 1-2 dribbles. That's not his
pointers and
that's not his game.
Yeah.
That's Larry's whole game.
But Byron Scott's firsthand experience with Larry Bird is a perfect snapshot of Bird's psychological warfare.
So we playing him in the last play. He says to James Worthy, he said, "You guys don't have to worry about it. I'm gonna go right over there that corner." He said, "They're gonna set a screen for me. We're taking the ball out." He said, "I'm gonna curl right over," and he's telling us to play. He's telling us to play before they even take it out. He said, "I'm gonna go right over to that corner and I'm gonna catch it, I'm gonna shoot it, and I'm gonna tie the game or win the game, whatever the case may be." They take the ball out, and I think it was either Danny or
DJ,
the late great DJ.
Yeah.
Take the ball out, the man curl right to the corner, caught the shot, shot a three, game over. It's like, are you effing kidding me? That's my Larry Bird story.
Bird had some kind of basketball crystal ball. It's not just the shot itself. It's the fact that Bird told them what was about to happen and still pulled it off. That's just next level confidence. Now let's talk about John Sally, a man who always has something entertaining to say. He remembers one particular game where Bird's confidence came out in full force.
I said, yeah, he goes, y'all double me tonight when I get the ball in the wing? I said, nah, man, straight up. He goes, y'all ain't double teaming me?
Like, what's wrong with y'all?
Nah, I got you, dog. You don't like height. He goes, mouse in the house.
And you 6'11".
And they lifted. He walked me down to the post, got the ball. He said, you better ask for a double team, Sal.
Talking to you the whole time.
And he would move at his speed. I don't care how fast you think you are.
But wait, Sally wasn't done with Bird yet. He had another moment with Larry Legend.
I said, I'm trying to get him off him. And then we get out the way and I mind my business. Because, at that time, I'm totally not understanding everything. But Larry was, he would talk and he would say, Sal, you better ask for a double team, bro. I was like, when are you going to when are you going to let these people know you're a black guy from Indiana? When are you going to do that? Stop this whiteness. What are you doing?
And Dominic Wilkins, the human highlight film himself, learned early on not to expect any handshakes or warm welcomes from Larry Bird.
Your first game against Larry Bird. You go up to shake his hand because you're a fan. And what happens next?
It was shocking, and I'm a rookie, and I go up against, we small forwards because guys guarded each other back in our area. You couldn't duck each other. And so I go shake his hand and he put both hands behind his back. And I'm saying, okay, he getting his head ready to play. And first play of the game, he says, I don't know where they got you guarding me, Holmes. And he shoots a three. I was pissed. I said, I wasn't mad he hit the three, but this bitch just called me Holmes, And so it set up for a really interesting game. Because I remember one time I came down and I dunked it on him. He laying on the ground, he fouled me, and I'm pointing. And he said, hey, Rook. I said, what? He said, he said, I like you. You got, he said, you got balls, but I'm still gonna get 30 on your ass. He got about 38, but I had to pay my dues. I wasn't upset about that because, back then, as a rookie, you got to pay your dues. Simple as that.
Bird's confidence was terrifying in its simplicity. He didn't yell or scream. He just made statements, backed them up with his play, and left you wondering how you would let him get in your head. Even Michael Jordan, the king of competition himself, had to give Bird his props. MJ wasn't one to easily hand out compliments, but when it came to Larry, even Jordan had to bow down. In an interview, Jordan openly admitted, Larry Bird is the greatest trash talker and mind game player of all time. He taught me everything I know about getting in folks' heads. Think about that for a second. MJ learned from the original master of mind games. When Jordan, the most competitive player in NBA history, tips his hat to you, that's respect on another level. But here's the twist. Despite all the smack talking, Bird was still the perfect teammate, according to Robert Parrish. But there was one thing Bird never turned off, his trash talk.
The gentleman you just talked about, Larry Bird.
Oh, shit, that's the man, shit. He's like your Magic, your Kareem, once in a lifetime player, franchise changing player, no matter how poorly you playing, Coop. He never got on you. Only thing he would say to you, try to pick it up if you can. You had one of them nights, things just not going your way. He always spoke, with encouragement. One thing you got to give Larry Bird, he could be red hot or ice cold. He never stopped talking trash, ever.
It didn't matter if you were on his team or not, Bird's tongue was just as sharp as his jump shot. And Bird's legendary trash talking extended far beyond his Celtics family. Utah Jazz icon Karl Malone had his unforgettable encounter with Larry. Malone, known for his physicality and toughness, shared a story that solidified Bird's reputation as a fearless competitor.
I remember sitting on the bench watching Kevin McHale and Larry Bird. And Larry Bird did something. To me, I'm still marveled at this. And he got so many people. It was a timeout. And one of our teammates, Bart Kofold, had a camera. Right. He's taking pictures. So Larry Bird came over there and looked at our bench. And he said, 3-pointer. From right over here. So I'm sitting over there looking like, Babe Ruth, calling your shot already, right? Yeah. So Isaiah, I'm sitting there looking. He looked down at the floor. Hell, everybody looked down at the floor. He like he threw something. And he hit a 3.
Oh, can you believe that?
And I remember Kevin kind of looking over at the bench like this is gonna be a long night.
Former Celtics player Brian Shaw also had his unforgettable Bird moment. Now, fast forward to 2013, when Oscar Schmidt was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. Schmidt, a legend in his own right, could have praised any player, anyone. But who did he choose? Larry Bird.
It's too easy to have Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant as an idol. The guy flies around and do whatever he wants. It's too easy. My guy doesn't run, doesn't jump, and play the best of everybody else. He's here. This is my idol, the best player ever.
To Schmidt, Bird was the ultimate player, the one who made the impossible look effortless, and the one he considered the best ever. And let's not forget the time when college star Rodney Rogers thought it was a good idea to trash talk Larry Bird. As Jamal Mashburn recalls, Bird didn't take it lightly.
And we got an invitation, it was 8 of us. So we get to La Jolla, San Diego, and we check into the Marriott. We go up to our floor, and we're walking in the corridor, and we see this tall white guy coming down the hall. And I'm like, damn, that looked like Larry Bird. And Larry Bird, you don't realize how big Larry Bird is until you stand up close to Larry Bird. So he walked by us and he says, y'all those college guys? And we was like, yeah, we the college guys. And he looked at us and he said, get some rest, it's gonna be a long week, and walked off. And we was like, what the hell? And I never seen this, and this one I was like, this is a different breed. Magic Johnson fed Larry Bird the ball probably about 8 times in a row down court. Larry Bird got the ball on Rodney Rogers, and every time he was about to make a move, he told him what he was going to do. 1 dribble, pull up, going left, off glass. Bucket. 1 dribble, going right, spin, shot, bucket. He scored 9 times or 8 times in a row, left the court to go lay down because he couldn't sit on a bench. He had to lay down because of his back.
Patrick Ewing, one of the fiercest competitors to ever play for the New York Knicks, had his fair share of battles with Larry Bird. But when he sat down for an interview, Ewing revealed that Bird's legendary trash talk even extended into his personal life.
But, he always talked trash. I remember he talked trash against everyone else. But, the difference is he could back it up. I remember, like I was saying, growing up in Boston, people all used to always talking about that he can't jump, he can't do this, he can't do that. And, a lot of my friends was like that, So, I got to the league. I called all my friends back up. I said, all that trash that you were talking, you need to squash all that. This man is great. He's doing it on everybody. He's doing it on the best defensive players in the league.
Yeah. But Ewing isn't the only one who fell victim to Bird's psychological warfare. Throughout his illustrious career, Bird silenced doubters and critics alike with his unparalleled talent and unwavering self-assurance. Then there's Reggie Miller, who sat down with Larry and Isiah Thomas to recount his own Bird story.
For this man, I'm sure he's going to remember this. 1991, Game 5 in the old Boston Garden. Yeah. Larry goes down with an injury late in the second quarter. Start to third, no Larry. Couple minutes go by, no Larry.
Well, if it's a game I'm thinking about, I had a concussion at halftime. Well, the doctor says you had enough. You can't go back out there. Enough's enough, Larry. My back and this. I went to the doc. I said, I got to try this. He said, well, if you get dizzy and all this, come back in. 6:46. I remember it to this day of the third quarter.
The crowd was so loud, and I remember looking at Chuck, and we said to ourselves, "You in trouble?" Oh. That's what we said. Celtics go on a 33-14 run, and they beat us in Game 5. Look, I know you're supposed to be competitors, but I'm going against the guy who I patterned my game after, and you put on an unbelievable performance.
He gave Bird the utmost respect. And who could forget one of the most iconic moments in Bird's career? The 1986 three-point contest. Bird didn't just stroll into that contest, he walked in with supreme confidence. Before the first shot went up, Bird, still wearing his warm-up jacket, looked around at the competition and said, "I want all of you to know I am winning this thing. Who's playing for second?" And of course, he backed up every word.
Who's playing? Did you really say that? Who's playing for second?
Yeah, I did. I scored so bad because I didn't realize there's so much tension on it. I'm out there every day in front of these fans. And
who were some of the guys? Who were some of the guys in the competition at that time when you walked in? Who was in that field?
Dale. What's
Hodges?
The kid that's Yeah, Hodges.
John Stonvold.
The kid that's refereeing now. The one that always And the next time I came, I said, okay, now they're down in the nitty-gritty. Who's coming in second? You already know who's going to win this.
Even Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, one of the fiercest Lakers and Celtics rivals, couldn't help but respect Larry's game.
I remember the game he played against the Lakers. He was ridiculous. He came in here. I remember our sportscaster played the Superman theme when he was talking about him that night after the game, because he did everything: points, rebounds, assists, just steals, you name it. Larry has such a great mind for the game, and a great touch. I had a lot of respect for him as a competitor.
In fact, Kareem went as far to say that Larry Bird was the best player he ever played against.
The best guy I played against might have been, Larry Bird, someone like that.
How good was
Michael
Bird?
Jordan.
I don't think people look at him and think, he's a white guy, slow guy.
The chubby white guy. He wore us out, man. Because he just, this muscle here, the one between his ears, that was his best, because he made the three-pointers and he had assists and rebounded, steals. He was always at the right place at the right time on the court. One of the great players I had the opportunity to play against.
And Kareem wasn't alone in his admiration. Magic Johnson, Bird's greatest rival, didn't hold back when giving Larry his flowers.
It's respect. This ain't nothing bad. So I said, let me see what he can do. But Larry's had something that most white boys don't have. That boy, he can play, man. He turned it out. We played on a team in college in a tournament together. This is the first time I ever sat on the bench. Him and I were on the bench. But when we got in the game, we turned it out. But I saw this dude eat Jack Givens up. He was player of the year that year.
Kentucky, right?
Yeah, from Kentucky. And Larry Bird was just slicing and dicing him. And I said, I called home. I said, it's true about this boy. I was calling everybody, this dude can play.
Magic understood better than anyone what Bird brought to the court. Fierce competition mixed with an unmatched basketball IQ. Then there's Shawn Kemp, who had his fair share of run-ins with Larry Legend, and his first one was Unforgettable.
Man, I'm gonna keep this real with y'all, man. My ass got busted real early, man. I came into the league, man, I was 19. I'm from Indiana, Larry's from Indiana. I knew about the history of Larry, but I didn't realize how he really got down. When we got to Boston that morning, I knew something wasn't right. I saw an X-Man. He was limping around the court a little bit like he was sore. I figured he'd be all right, you know.
Xavier McDaniel.
I go to the game on the early bus. I get there. They come out on the court. They say, "Hey, Sean, you starting tonight against Larry." And I was like, "Okay, I'm all for it, though." You know. So the X-Man, he didn't play. He had a sore knee. But my point to you is this: Larry gave me 50 3/4.
During the 1980s, the Boston Celtics were an unstoppable force in the NBA, with Larry Bird leading the charge. But Bird wasn't carrying the load alone. He had an incredible supporting cast, including the legendary power forward Kevin McHale. McHale spent his entire career alongside Bird, watching from close up as Bird's brilliance unfolded night after night. One of McHale's favorite stories about Bird's trash talk came from a game when things weren't going so smoothly for Larry.
Well, probably my favorite one was we were playing in Phoenix, and we were way up. We were like 15, and we have the worst fourth quarter in the history. We're terrible, and Larry's bad. Larry's missing shots, throwing it to the other team, throwing it in the third row, and they come back and somehow they go up 2. So we have a play, out of bounds play. I'm taking it out, and Larry says, "I'm going to bust off the play, and I'm just going to come out and I'm going to shoot a 3." And I'm like, "We're down 2." I'm like, "No, don't do that." I'm like, "Let's shoot a 2, please. Go to the hole, try to get fouled. Let's just get into overtime, see if we can't win this game." And Larry says, "No, I'm just going to bust a 3 on him." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." So he tells the Phoenix bench, he tells the coaches, "Yeah, I'm just fixing to bust a 3 on you guys and just go home. I'm tired of this." And he gets the ball, jumps out, busts the play, comes out, gets the ball at the slot, shoots the ball. As the ball's in the air, he kind of turns towards the Phoenix bench and yells, "Told you so!" He stops running to the locker room. And it went in, and I just started laughing. I was like, "Oh, man."
And it wasn't just teammates who were in awe of Bird's game. In an interview, Kobe Bryant shared his thoughts on trying to defend Larry Bird, expressing sheer disbelief at how hard it was.
I would always sit down and just ask him questions about certain games that I studied growing up. What actually happened there? What did you feel there? Why? You know, Bird tough to defend. Why? Because he looks slow as shit to me. So like, I'm missing something. So like, tell me what I'm missing. You know what I mean? And so I would always ask questions and try to learn as much as I could.
Bird himself admitted he wasn't the most athletic, but as Kobe quickly learned, Bird's basketball IQ and strategic genius more than made up for it. He was always a step ahead of the defense, seeing the game unfold before anyone else. Then there's the legendary 1985 game against the Atlanta Hawks. This wasn't just another game. It was Bird at his absolute peak. This performance was so iconic that even years later, it caught the attention of LeBron James. LeBron took to X to share a clip of the game, calling Bird one of the greatest of all time, and he wasn't wrong. What made this game extra special wasn't just Bird scoring, it was the reaction from the Hawks bench. As Bird kept hitting shot after shot, even the opposing team's players couldn't help but cheer for him. Bird had transcended competition. He was putting on a show for everyone in the arena. And then there's Doc Rivers, who had a vivid memory of the same game. In one interview, Rivers talked about how Bird was completely in the zone that night. Doc said, "Bird got in the zone and he started calling the shots. He started saying, 'off the glass.' That was the one game I think he tortured Dominic. He saw Dominic as this up-and-coming player, and he just tortured him mentally. He tortured all of us. He was calling shots off the glass, who's next, where you want this one from, and he just made one after another." These stories show that Larry Bird wasn't just a great player. He was a phenomenon. He didn't need the best athleticism or flashy moves. He had something far more powerful: his mind, his wit, and an ability to control the game like few others in history. That's why, even today, the legends of the game continue to share their stories about Larry Legend. And if you want to dive even deeper into why Larry Bird was on a different level, make sure you hit play on this next video where NBA legends break it all down.